Agriculture contribution to GDP in the late 80s, 90s was around 16%, and some people are saying, oh, agriculture is not performing. Well, definitely it's not performing to the level of expectation, but it's performing quite well. Simply because when it was 60% contribution to GDP, that was the whole primary industries. It was lumped together with fisheries and forestry, and even with sugar as well. When I'm talking about agriculture's contribution to GDP now, it's only the non-sugar component. And that non-sugar component is around 8-point-something% now. And in terms of the value, it's around 540-something million. You can compare that to sugar, definitely more than sugar. And of course with the fisheries and forestry sector as well. So agriculture is performing, but can be more and can be better. I agree with you on that. Secondly, for us to perform better, always you will need to have the funds and the resources, particularly 2014 when we were Minister for Primary Industries, and when we were taken away from primary industries and agriculture on its own, we started off with a 46 million budget in 2014, and now it has doubled to almost 86 million for this year's budget. So definitely we have got the allocations. We have tried to fix out a few things. One was policies. Policies are very important, and then we're looking at the strategies now. I did talk to you, I think in the last forum, was the biggest challenges that we have: consistency and reliability in supply, volume, and of course quality. We have done a lot in these areas with the rural and agriculture statistics, which we have worked out with FAO, and to improve productivity. We have the smallholder farmers. This is the biggest challenge because we have a lot of smallholder farmers rather than semi-commercial, commercial farmers. So we are lumping together, we are calling them clusters, the smallholder farmers, and of course we will look at the other the semi-commercial and commercial operators as well. One of the big activities that we will be organizing on the 14th or the 15th of August, together with ILTB and of course Ministry of Lands, is to convene the CBUL meetings so that we can identify people with agriculture leases, because these are the ones that we can focus on to raise them to semi-commercial, commercial level. And the subsistence agricultures farmers, who are majority of our suppliers, we will group them together as in clusters, and of course work together with our exporters and buyers, so that from the demand we can go back and work out the production systems and of course the technology that's needed with it. And for us to address that, we need to look at the whole value chain as well. In this year's allocation, you will notice that there's allocation as well for agro-processing facility, because for a long time agriculture in Fiji, we were focusing on production. But agriculture is perishable, like fisheries. It loses its quality, it loses its value. We don't have cold storage systems in Fiji. The rural and maritime islands have an abundance of very good resources and commodities. But unfortunately, the facilities are not provided. Packing sheds, cold storage facilities, cold storage trucks, or freezers within the boats that we have, so that we can. So this is something that government is working on seriously right now, so that we can address some of the issues of yesteryears. Marketing is very important, and now we are doing aggressive market survey together with the Ministry for Trade. And we are now penetrating into new market segments as well with some of our products. That is very, very critical for us. For a long time, we have been concentrating a lot on fresh products as well, but there's huge potentials in value addition. Products out of our cassava, out of our ginger, out of our cocoa, out of our coffee, out of our yangona, out of our coconuts. Lots and lots of potentials, because when we're dealing with fresh products, there are also a lot of biosecurity issues, which sort of restricts us in terms of our penetration into the market, and of course growing these market areas as well. One of the big achievements last year that was launched is the Kanavinaka cookbook. I don't know whether you have access to this, because the domestic market alone is huge. Tourism is big in Fiji, but most of what goes into tourism industry is imported. And I have been asked about this importation, and I will address it. But with this cookbook, we should be able to use local food or local products for our cuisines. Because the chefs, with all due respect, are from France and from Italy and in the hotels that we have. But with the Kanavinaga cookbook that has now been distributed to most of our hoteliers, and they should be able to pick it up and they can have ota for lunch and miti and with all the local products that we have. So that's quite important for us as well because of the huge domestic market that we have. AMA operates under the Act of 2004. I think most of the questions that usually come from the private sector is the competition between AMA and the private sector players as well. Unfortunately, AMA has to remain because when you bring AMA out of the picture, usually the prices really go down. And AMA is there to stabilize the price as well. I'll give you examples. When AMA is out of Taveuni, dollar prices go down as low as 50 cents. As soon as AMA comes back in with $1.20, then everybody goes up again to $1.40 and $1.60 and then $2 and up. Because it's good for our farmers. We have to maintain the interest of our farmers. When prices are low, supply and demand, when the prices are low, then definitely the farmers will not be interested in. So AMA is there, but be assured that we are working very closely now with the private sectors because AMA is also under the Act allowed to do export, but AMA does not want to compete with those that are already in existence. However, how is AMA facilitating? Because AMA is also mandated to reach out to the areas which are non-accessible by other, particularly the private sector players. So AMA now is buying products on behalf of the exporters, and then they just work out their costs of transportation, and then they hand it over to the other players, and then they do their processing. Even they process for them, and then just give them the costs. And then, but AMA has really performed well, and I thank the Minister for Economy. The turnover in AMA has increased significantly in the last few years. You would go now to Nosori, in the old rice mill, AMA has taken over that property so that we can convert it to standards so we can meet HACCP and Codex and other standards so that they can continue to produce to the expected standards so that we can export into the markets. So AMA, again, has got potentials to probably take over some of the responsibilities of food processors so that they can go into value addition as well. But let me assure you that AMA has turned things around over the last few years, and they are now running on their own, but of course with the subsidy from government as well, but they have really performed very well, and I'm happy to take questions after that. On agriculture exports, again, this is something that we are working on seriously. As I've stated, we are working with the Ministry of Trade. We have to do aggressive market and promotion of our products. That's very, very critical for us now. Hopefully, as I've said, there's a lot of fresh products, but we need huge potentials in frozen products as well, and of course, other value-added products. Chips, ginger is doing quite well now. We were in Brisbane last week. Fresh dollar markets, yes. But again, we are going through a lot of problems as well because of the logistics. But in terms of frozen dalo, we are trying our very best now with our buyers in Australia. If we can get our dalo to Coles and Woolworths, then that's the whole of Fiji's dalo. And we can even do more. I've talked about the difficulties that we're having in logistics, and we have, amongst the three of us, we have discussed this. One of the major problems now, and now Samoa and Tonga is slowly creeping into the market, simply because of the logistics. The best option for me is air freight. But I've got limited space and of course the cost as well. We are trying to sort it out. Because when I do shipping, it takes almost 14 days for our product to reach the shelf. It loses its quality, it loses its value. Because 3 days from the purchasing to the processing house, from Taveuni and all over, bring it to Navua, we process. one day in the processing, and then it's loaded. And then it goes to Lautoka again, offloaded. Sometimes people in the ports, they forget to connect it. So the freezer goes off. So one day in Lautoka, and then it goes to Tauranga or whatever in New Zealand. Tauranga, and then offloaded again. After that, reload, and then goes to Auckland. By the time it reaches the shelf, it's already 10 days old. That's the problem that we're having with export. But there's huge potentials. I will not go into the commodities. Ginger is doing really well. Coconut, the Minister for Economy has talked about coconut this morning. Kava is going to hit the big market soon because last week we were in the Netherlands on Codex. Once that Codex approval comes through, Kava will be hitting the market big time. But even now, Kava bars are in New York, and we've got the Takimai, which is the best antidepressant and the best relaxation drink. If you are stressed, take a Takimai. But these are all the products that are getting into the export markets. We can still do more, and we would want you to go into value addition and help us partner in developing some of these products as well. Substitution, I've talked about the value chain. And IFAD, the International Funding for Agriculture Development, has also come in. I'm going to take more than 5 minutes because without agriculture you will not be surviving because you need food. So we are working now on the import substitution. But what we need now is more technology. Because in Fiji, right now, we have the best vegetables and we have an abundance of supply. Come the rainy season, it's all gone. All that we need now is hydroponic farms, we need greenhouses, and we need irrigations and other technologies so that we can continue consistency and reliability in supply. So we need more, and we are targeting the imported products. And that goes for livestock as well. I can answer questions on that. And we're talking about importation substitution and export promotion. One of the big ones that we are also initiating now, and hopefully there will be a launching very soon, is Organics Fiji. In terms of volume, we cannot penetrate into some of these existing markets that we have. But we go niche, and with quality, we go organics. That's where the big money is. We've done a bit of survey in Singapore and most of our existing markets. Organics will be a big one for Fiji. And we have started to form this Organic Farmers Association and so forth. Disaster preparedness for earthquakes, first pray so that you are safe when there is an earthquake. But we are doing our very best now to bring the best of technology. But what comes after earthquakes as well, tsunamis, we are working now on our warning systems. Very soon the whole of Suva will have, we have 2 already in place, but we will have all of Suva installed with sirens, and then we look at the other local governments as well. And of course, we're just developing now most of the policies, and of course, we will work together with the Chamber and the City Council as well on the safe, on the routes and withdrawal plans and so forth about Suva particularly and the other areas that are threatened. There's a whole document that we are working now, and hopefully we'll start working together with the Asian Institute of Disaster Risk Reduction as well, based in Japan, so that we can get access to the latest of technologies. We are investing a lot in our people now. Thailand has offered us scholarships in the next 3 years for 2 people to come every year to the Asian Institute of Technology, because in the area of disaster management, previously, we only bring in people from the common cadre, admin cadre, to go and administer the NDMO office. But what we are doing now is we are creating specialists. So now we have the first 2, one will be graduating now, and we are about to send probably next week the next one who's going to do masters in disaster management and whatever at the Asian Institute of Technology, and hopefully we'll send one to Japan as well. Maritime development, I've talked about the value chain. Government is investing a lot in the shipping. We can do a lot in the maritime islands, but you need to sort out the logistics first. when you look at the rural to urban drift, most people moved simply because they have the resources, but the logistics was something that was neglected. So now we are working very closely with the government shipping services and the franchises and the other operators. Government is going to do the airport now in in Rotuma. Hopefully from there we'll improve the Tuvalu-Rotuma trade as well. We are working on infrastructure, we are working on the logistics, and then we will work on the products. Hopefully after this, maybe with funding from the Global Climate Fund, we will then put dryers, food dryers, we can use put packing sheds, and of course cold storage facilities in the islands so that we can start collecting the products from the maritime islands. But again, government has invested a lot in infrastructure, education, and of course creating the economic opportunities in the rural areas so that one, they will stay, two, they will produce, and hopefully they will contribute more to the development and the growth of the economy as well. I'll end there and I'll be happy to take questions. Thank you.